mostly, I think all of them are in China, except we have one demonstration building in Cancun, in Mexico. Okay, so now this is working. Oh, okay, that's good. Yes, so that's, I'll just try to pick the ones that I believe is useful. These are some of our, the countries that we explored our air conditioning. And this is the headquarters that we have for BSD, that we have built in, I believe, 2009, as it says. And earlier, I think the building that we have seen, the 30-story building, is existing. It's a hotel. And I don't know if Mr. Yazani had the opportunity of staying there.
I just slept there.
You slept there, okay, wonderful. So it's real. Earlier, there was Mr. From Kriba, Mr. Santiago. Yes, Mr. Santiago sent these videos to his entire company. He told me the story and asked if it is real. Indeed, it is real. And more and more, even the first Sky City project, there were many hurdles we have to overcome. It's supposed to be completed this year, but I think we're going to try again next year with our newer system. So this is how the environment, as you see, how our building floor plates are created. Each floor plate is just the maximum size that's allowable to be transferred on the highway. And this system, and these photos you're looking at, is already outdated. Currently we're developing an even newer system, which I will explain later. So, as I said, it's like how we're building 747 or how we're building iPhones. So people ask, oh, maybe modular architecture have very little variety. And then our answer, we always have to explain why we're doing what we're doing. And I think here is like saying, if you have a perfect phone or perfect plane, let's say a perfect building, why would you need it to look different, perhaps? So these are some of the variances of how the modulation can really assemble. Then again, in the past so many years, that we are trying to understand exactly what kind of impact that this system, once it's realized, perhaps only in China, in this kind of large, fast-booming market, it is possible, where we could invest over 300 engineers, billions of dollars into this research and development process and time. Below, I'm quite happy with this illustration, which also sadly is going to be out of date the next year, because the whole system is going to be very different. All the floor panels will actually package into a shipping container, so it will be more plausible for a global market. And this was a cutout from the Wire magazine when they did a story on us a few years ago. So LEED, as I had learned in the past an hour or so, that everybody's talking about LEED certification. In China, we also have LEED certification, but how come we're not doing LEED certification? It is not that we don't want to do it, but I think we're going about a different approach to sustainable construction in our company. Is that we believe it is not, it is going to be perhaps a way of construction to replace all future ways of construction. So in terms of LEED certification, it is still applicable after a building is created. And I think we will have in the future many LEED certified buildings with this way of creating towers. This is how Broad started its business 28 years ago by making these kind of combined heat and power system. At first, I don't think we weren't doing the gas turbine units. It's only the non-electric air conditioning that takes in any sort of energy or heat or temperature. And in this case, in this rendering, the CHP is using exhaust from power generation. So I'll pick whatever is easy to digest at this moment. So in terms of air quality, which is a huge, huge problem in Beijing for those who have visited, in the APEC meeting this year, Obama and Xi Jinping walks by one of our air purification products. It's kind of funny to see this advertisement here. And so Braun also makes fresher units. That's the Braun Air Company. So the Braun Group has really created an ecosystem that is ripe for the development of such a sustainable construction package. So these larger units where we placed in our recent 57-story building serves 15 stories per floor. So this project, the one that you've seen earlier, the Sky City #1, has gone through pretty much all these are Chinese certifications, certifying that it's technologically feasible. But in China, there are other reasons. So here is, we have done pretty much full-size, not full-size, but close to full-size earthquake simulations in China. And these are some more towers that we have created. And I hope, oh yeah, these are also using this technology, but creating different towers. As you can see, that the facades and everything can all be quite interchangeable. And this is our latest, tallest tower at the moment, 57 stories. It is quite unique because if you look at this picture, it is a sky courtyard, we call it. And from the bottom floor to the top, there are 19 of them. So these courtyards are about 600 square meter and 3 floors tall. So about, well, it's not as big as this room, but can you imagine courtyards all the way to the top and interconnected by these paths, almost like a parking lot ramp. So you can cycle, and we have done actually a cycling championship from the ground floor to the top, partnering up with a famous bicycle. So all these seems very, very strange, and even myself as an architect, I can't quite understand why we're doing such crazy things, that my father's doing such crazy things. But I understand that we're always trying to push the limit, and at some point, if our tallest building is, oh, that's him. We do have a lot of similarities. If our tallest building is really realized, I believe that it will create a much larger impact than what it has right now. So there are several international reports on what we are doing. Okay, so coming to 2011, I think, which is the background of this tower, is why are we creating, so the second question people ask broad is, why are you building so tall? So the reason we want to build so tall is today I was coming from the airport to the city, that I see the traffic jam, and then also earlier on coming from Sheraton to this venue, this traffic jam again. So to build tall and also to build at large scale is that I think we're hoping to think of sustainable building on a higher scale, on a higher level. So can a building become a city? And the city has to share the burden of transportation. And we have done some feasibility studies, some calculations, is that for such a building, a sky city, how many cars could it save? And for a city official, for a person who's thinking of building a city or a government is that can they think more holistically, even considering the fact of road investments. If we today think that sustainable buildings are more expensive and always have to add a premium, is that we have to move to the paradigm to think that sustainable buildings, such as a city-level sustainable building, has to be even cheaper, a lot cheaper. And so far, with our buildings that we have, tried to compete with identical construction methods, conventional methods. So we're hoping with this kind of rigor of approaching a building system is that we can create lower and lower cost buildings each time. So to build high, as I said, is really to conserve land and to prevent cities from sprawling, and that may take really a sky city to change it all. So that was the fourth challenge. And then in 2015, I have concluded that our challenge, perhaps that we have faced this year, is to look at how we can do project delivery, and partly that's what I'm responsible for in the Southeast Asia market, especially in India. And I believe if we can deliver a project in India, it is likely we can do it in most countries. And with this challenge, it is something perhaps to behold once our latest product model comes out, the one I explained, that packages the floor plates entirely into a shipping container, and then we can perhaps be more at ease to develop demo products around the world. And I hope with my trip to Argentina this time is to speak to some of the construction companies and developers and architects representing in this audience, is that we can perhaps look into co-developing a project using the BSB system, and to really bring sustainable construction to another level with maybe a Chinese mentality of innovation within it. So when it comes to here, I think is that one explain why my father is approaching sustainable construction in this way. Is it because he is really looking at climate mitigation early from the start, and to really in his mentality is that to really hope, earlier all the speakers have presented that buildings consume a significant amount of resources and emits close to 50% of the CO2 emissions in the world. So if the building sector is really to contribute to climate mitigation, is that we have to create a more drastic approach. And in a Chinese way, there's a Chinese saying, we say it's just simply brutal, and it's simply easy to understand what we're doing. Okay, thanks very much.